get up and dash 100 meters and I would eat up the competition. It's just non-existent. I kick my feet up. Thought I was passing till I got blasted. I pulled my seat up.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Today we're going to talk about AEW Rampage. From January the 21st, 2022, the show was the show. It was the show. It was what it was, man. I am never really all that thrilled about AEW. I just never am, you know. So, you got Jon Moxley versus Ethan Page. Jon Moxley wins with the Bulldog choke. Interesting spot here. Ethan Page puts Jon Moxley on the table and punches him. The table breaks. Just collapses under Jon Moxley. Moxley looked like he lost his gut, which was great. He's not as bulky as he used to be. I talked about this stuff already. He looked like he lost weight, which is really good. Too bad his strikes are still as bad as ever. So he's on the ground. He's throwing elbows. And we've seen Bryan Danielson do these elbows, and they look a lot more crisp when he does them. He then transitions to the knee strikes to the head. We've seen how bad Jon Moxley's knee strikes to the head are. If you watched his match with Tetsuya Naito, you know how bad his knee strikes are. So they were pretty bad there too. But it was a nice little combination that goes into the Bulldog choke, and Ethan Page just kind of lost consciousness, and that was it. Okay, it was a good main event of WWF Superstars kind of match. Maybe Moxley gave too much. Definitely shouldn't have done the top rope power slam. Definitely unnecessary. Maybe you should have saved that for a match you're actually going to win. Jurassic Express cut a promo, said that Billy Gunn is a salty old bitch and that his ass boys are as entitled as he is. And said that they're not coming to wrestle. They're coming to stomp their heads in. This was Jungle Boy cutting a promo, which I was actually surprised with. And I'm going to actually give them a pass just because Jungle Boy is cutting promos now, which is a good thing, because I've been lambasting Jungle Boy for months for not talking. So I'm going to give him a chance to actually talk and get comfortable talking. So go for it, Jungle Boy. Get it together. You know, hopefully you get some better material, but, you know, okay, cool. So, because of COVID, Roppongi Vice versus the Young Bucks was canceled. And it ended up being Trent Beretta versus Nick Jackson. Trent Beretta wins with a counter hold. Nice little wrestling finish, but I didn't care about this match at all. I don't like the Young Bucks. And Trent was cool, but, you know, the whole Mama's Boy thing has made him actively uninteresting to me. I will not ever take a dude whose mom drives him to work and, you know, kisses them on the cheek and all that shit. See, all that stuff, I can't stand it. This whole thing with the best friends, they're all over every show. I can't stand it. And I don't like none of those guys. I hate him less than I hate Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. I hate him significantly less, but I'm not a fan. You know, that's like being, you know, the best of the shit pile. You know, I can't stand these guys. All right, so we got a vignette from Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa, and this was great. It was great because it had, in about 40 seconds, everything that you needed to know. Told you who the two characters were, told you what their conflict was over, but it didn't tell you when they were going to fight. And also, it keeps people who have not been wrestling and have not been cutting promos on TV, it keeps them relevant. Because it keeps you, you know, thinking about their angle, their storyline, and what they're doing. So this was good. The only problem I have with this is, why isn't Mercedes Martinez on TV actively winning matches? Why isn't Thunder Rosa on TV actively winning matches? You know, I know that Thunder Rosa is on Dark. She's the queen, the empress of Dark, where she's just going to be all over the Darks and beating everybody and stacking bodies like cordwood on Dark. I don't give a shit. She needs to be on TV. Right? She needs to be on TV. I don't understand why you debut Mercedes Martinez and then don't use her. I don't understand that either. What is the point? Yeah, what is the point? Tony Khan did an interview. He's talking about bringing in more female talent. He used the word strong. We're going to bring in some strong female talent. Look, we already know, man. It's probably going to be Taya and, Athena, a.k.a. Ember Moon. If you can get Tony Storm, it'll probably be her too. It's just going to be people that was released from WWE. That's what it's going to be. Dark is filled with women that they could probably use that have not been under WWE contract, but they don't want them. They want the ones that were under WWE contracts because they know at least those have name value. So they're going to go for those. And that's smart, go for it, They need to rebuild their roster. But I'm telling you, they will probably be smarter and probably be able to get talent a lot cheaper and break through talent, break new talent if they use some of the people that are on Dark. Why wait for them to go to WWE first, and get frustrated or get misused, or you could potentially lose out to them if that person actually gets used on TV. Now, AEW is operating at a very good time because they're operating at a time where WWE is rebuilding. They shredded themselves of talent. So AEW has got to just get a wealth of talent, especially female talent. So it's about to work out for them. Hopefully they make the right decisions, but now WWE is going to throw all the pieces into your lap. It's up to you to play them. And that's how chess is. Everybody starts out with two rooks and two knights, a king, a queen, a bunch of bishops, not a bunch of bishops, but a bunch of pawns. It's all about how you play them. And Tony Khan he's been smart with some of his main event guys. It's like, Danielson and Punk and Moxley and those. He's been pretty smart with those guys. It's been everybody else he's dropped the ball with. So if he ends up getting Tony Storm and Taya Valkyrie and Athena and all them, it's going to depend on how he chooses to use them. Is he going to just put them on Dark and they wrestle on Dark and that's it? Or is it going to be, him actually featuring a women's division? Who knows? That's a decision he's got to make. But I did see that he's going to have a women's division. But I would definitely question his seriousness about a women's division when he just brought in Mercedes Martinez and nothing. She hasn't worked a match yet. I don't think she's been in front of the crowd since she worked the match. Since she debuted, I mean. Has she been in front of that crowd since she debuted? It's been 3 weeks, I think, right? This is AEW for you. And I know they want to build up her first match, maybe. But why not just give her a jobber to crush first? Give her a couple of job matches. Speaking of job matches, Hook beat up on Serpentico. Serpentico is apparently a Puerto Rican who likes to throw streamers. And when Hook attacked him, I was like, oh, Hook is a babyface with me. He attacked Serpentico during this corny-ass entrance and then just ate him alive. Tossing him all over the place, not really letting him take the kimono off, just beat him flat with the red rum. Great job. Hook, they're booking Hook like he's a giant, but he was announced at 201 pounds. And the one thing that I wish they had not done is when they did his analytics for Twitter, they put that he was a former lacrosse player. I probably would have kept that to myself. Okay. I probably would have kept that one under wraps. Maybe you don't tell people that he played lacrosse. Maybe he did something else. Did he ever play football or basketball? Did he play soccer? Did he play rugby? I know lacrosse, it's just very upper crust. It just seems like rich boy shit. And I think that's really kind of what we're going at with Hook is like, he's going to be like the snooty high school jocks. But, it's kind of like, sure, I get that. I can get that vibe. I think he pulls that off. Like, the badass lacrosse player. That's not in my demographic, but I guess there is a demographic who can respect that. So I can't say too much about it. QT Marshall comes out there and calls Hook a delinquent, saying that he attacked the man before the bell and then attacked the man after the bell too by not relinquishing the hold. Hook then threw him over his head like a belly to belly, and I was like, okay, cool, whatever. QT Marshall sucks. Yeah, beat him up. Hook is going off to a running start. Doing a good job with him. You got to ride this wave. I'm not sure how long this can last, because his style is very good, but that audience is going to just eat up everything. But I'm just talking about like the average Joe is eventually going to be like, this dude is scrawny, 201-pound kid, and he's just beating up on everybody like he's the baddest of badasses, like he's somebody out of, like he's Sagat from Street Fighter or something like that. Eventually people are going to start seeing through it. So I'm not sure what they're going to do next, but they have an endless row of jobbers in AEW for him to beat up on. There's a bunch of Dark Order guys for him to beat up on too. So it works. AEW is doing something right with Hook. Can't complain about that. So the main event, Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay. And Jade Cargill called Anna Jay Anna Banana, which was funny as hell. She said that she was going to beat up on Anna Banana and, of course, retain her title because she's that bitch show, yada, yada, yada. And Jade Cargill pretty much said the same thing every time. Anna Jay then responded that she has a dark side and that she wrapped barbed wire around her arm. She just basically said the same thing she said from Wednesday. And that TBS is going to stand for That Bitch Slayer. And said, I have a dark side to me. And I was like, that's not working, doll. Anna Jay is too sweet. She's like too nice to really pull off heel. I don't think she can really has a mean streak in her to pull this off. So I was like, you gotta let her cut the promo because you gotta let her get some experience talking. But it wasn't very good. It wasn't very believable at all that she could really stand up to Jade Cargill. And then once they had the match, of course, it didn't look very good. It was kind of clunky. They did the stare down between Jade Cargill and Johnny Hungy. And Johnny Hungy was smaller than she was. And I was like, she could probably kick his ass. Even though they booked John Silver like he's Donkey Kong or some shit. Of course, Jade Cargill wins because there was never any threat that she would actually lose. I didn't know what Anna Jay's finish was, but people seemed to wake up when she put her in a rear naked choke. And I was like, oh, is that her finish? I didn't know that. I thought she just won that other match with this because she had the barbed wire. I didn't know that was her actual finish. But Jade got away from that. She actually used the Chingo Bomb in this match too, which is Raquel Gonzalez's finish, before she using her own jaded finish. So it wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not going to lie and act like I watched every second of it intently either. It was like I didn't see anything in the match that would have jumped out at me as being particularly horrible. But it's clear neither one of these women should be in a position to have matches of any real length by themselves. They're still very green. So why put them in that position? I get it. They got to learn. I get it. But you have experienced people on the roster that can help them out, so help them out, So, if Anna Jay is going to be one of your homegrown stars because you think there's something in her outside of being just a pretty face and a nice butt, then you might have to actually develop her personality, which is part of the character. That's what gets you over. I know she was very young when she started and she wasn't very good. Now she's still not that great and she hasn't developed her personality whatsoever. Even Jade Cargill, she has kind of a wooden personality where her personality is just saying bitch all the time, and that's her gimmick. It's like she's an arrogant bitch. She thinks she's Storm from X-Men. It's like, okay, but what does that mean? Like I don't know what that means. This is where AEW should probably be doing vignettes and fleshing out the character of Jade Cargill. Flesh that out. Tell me what her motivations are. Why does she do what she do? She looks great. Show us her training regimen and all this kind of stuff. That could be great to really kind of get into the meat of the character and actually help her get over, because there's only so long you can get over because you're winning and because the fans like everybody who they put on the screen, and They give everybody a reaction, and everybody claps, and everybody's so happy. It's golf claps. We're just happy it's not WWE. Eventually, that shit's gonna burn out. They need to start building longer term, not stories, but longer term character development, longer term arcs for the characters. That some goals that don't revolve around just being champion, but personal goals. That takes us to Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. So after Moxley defeats Ethan Page, he's going to walk away through the crowd because that's what he does. And Danielson is clapping and kind of gives him a little bit of an applause. Moxley kind of walks away from him. They exchange glares, but nothing major. There was a plan, obviously, for them to fight in the tournament final, probably. Or was it the semifinal? I'm pretty sure it was the final. But Moxley had to go away to fight demons with his magic sword. So apparently they're going to just turn this into a proper feud with Danielson likely being a guy who's going to test Moxley. But I still feel like we're missing something with Danielson. And that is when he came in, it was all about being the best. And they went all about him being the best wrestler. He wanted to fight the best wrestler. He thought that best wrestler was Kenny Omega. He ended up getting a draw with him. Then it was, I want to fight the best wrestler, so the world champion is probably the best wrestler. And he didn't beat him either. Now we're in a position of like, okay, now what is his goal now? They missed on, it's been 2 or 3 weeks now, hasn't it, since he wrestled for the title. They missed an opportunity to really recalibrate the Danielson character and restate maybe new goals. It's like, okay, my goal is still to be the best wrestler in the world, to fight the best, to fight and defeat the best. But I can't wrestle the champion anymore because I lost, and I accept that. So now here's my new goal. And you move towards another personal goal. And maybe that's what they'll do. Or they'll just throw these two guys together because they know it's a match that everybody wants them to have. And that'll work, And that seems like that's kind of what they do in AEW, is that they just do the match or they just start the feud because that's what everybody wants. And then everything else in the middle is just filler. We'll figure out a reason when we get there. We'll figure out angles and personas and stuff like that when we get there. So, they seem to have something really built up. I actually like the card, if it's shaping up for their pay-per-view, to be MJF versus CM Punk, Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. That's a great fucking pay-per-view right there. Now, the main event spot would probably be shit because it's Adam Page versus somebody. Especially if it's like the undercard is going to be like Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. There's some real potential in a card like that. As far as name value and storylines that they have built up over time on television, like that's really good. But they got to get there. I don't want to be one of those people that gives them credit for something that I think is going to happen. They have to actually get there. You got to make it interesting. The MJF and CM Punk stuff has run out of fume. It's running on fumes, I think it's easier to say. I don't really even know what they're feuding about anymore. Like they're just continuously going on and on and on. And they dragging that thing out. But Moxley and Danielson, because these are two of my guys, I've always been a supporter of Moxley, even though I haven't been that impressed with his work in AEW. And I'm a huge fan of our Lord and Savior, Bryan Danielson. I'm willing to give them credit and say, all right, you have my attention. Now, what are you going to do to keep it? What do you guys think in the comment section below? Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I will talk to you guys later, man. Peace.